Can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
My name is Tom Beeson, and I coordinate the Spectrum program at Clemson University. My interest in autism comes from a variety of places. I worked with my first young man with autism back in the 90s. And then I have two neurodivergent children, including an autistic son and a son with ADHD. And they are both either college graduates or currently in college.
What are some of your guiding principles for the Spectrum program?
So Matt, we have a number of different kind of components that undergird the philosophy or the overall structure of the program. One is frequent contact with students. We like to see students 4, 5, 6 times a week, not for lengthy periods of time necessarily, but we like to have a sense of how a student is doing. I'm more comfortable in my role if I feel like I have some awareness of how students are doing, and that if a student is not doing well, that someone would know about that. The other thing that really is important to us is availability. Students have a peer coach, they have a well-being coach, they have program staff, they have the staff at Accessibility Services here at Clemson too. We are available to students whenever they need us. Our support for students needs to be available to students when they need it, not just from 8 a.m. to 4:30 each day. For support to really be support, it needs to be available when the student needs it. We do have an overall approach to working with students. It's called motivational interviewing. That kind of gives a structure to our meetings with students and kind of a plan or a format for us to follow in terms of providing maybe assistance or guidance to students. It's a great way to get people thinking about personal growth and development, and then getting them talking about and setting goals for their own personal growth and development. Finally, I would say some of my background is in acceptance and commitment therapy. And so we don't consider ourselves a therapeutic program, but a number of the principles and ideas behind acceptance and commitment therapy are particularly appropriate for college students, and perhaps even more appropriate for neurodivergent college students in terms of accepting certain things, accepting that they're going to be uncomfortable, difficult situations in life, and staying focused on kind of committed actions or goals that a student has.
Now, can you please tell us a bit more about Clemson University?
Clemson is a mid-sized university in the upstate of South Carolina. So Clemson has about 23,000 undergraduate students and just shy of 6,000 graduate students. It's an R1 research university, and we're located on a lake, Lake Hartwell, and very close to the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it's a pretty town. It's a very small town. The town of Clemson and the neighboring town of Central have probably no more than 22,000 people. So the university definitely dominates the local community.
How large is the Clemson Spectrum program?
So Matt, we'll be welcoming our 6th cohort of students to campus in the fall. And our program size for fall 2024 should be in the low 50s. So I think 52, 53 students. And that's kind of actually the size that we have envisioned for the program. It's taken us a while to grow to that size. We are able to kind of flex the size of the program to accommodate interested students. So if we had many more students than that, then we would just increase the size of the program for that year to accommodate student interest and student needs.
What does the Spectrum program's application process entail?
So students should apply to Clemson University, and we encourage students to apply to Clemson for early action. So that deadline is in October, sometime in October. And we also encourage students to apply to the program at the same time they apply to Clemson. We have an online application. It's fairly simple. It's about 15 questions or so. Asks some very basic information. Beyond that, we also like for students to visit So if a student wants to visit campus, they can schedule the campus tour and meet with us before or after that tour. Or if they can't get a campus tour on the day that they want to visit, then we're happy to give students our own campus tour. What we're looking for in a student is a student who wants to be at Clemson, wants to be in college. Typically, our students either need support in or need support in three areas, at least one of three areas. Either some support with executive functioning, or some support with stress and anxiety management, or handling the kind of communication that's required in college, the kind of minutia of managing the day-to-day responsibilities or the regular responsibilities of a college student, just wanting someone to be there with them to kind of help guide them through kind of the process of being a college student.
What types of services do you provide to Spectrum students?
So, Matt, we provide a number of different services to students. First off, I'd like to say we like to see students regularly throughout the week. So one of the foundational kind of principles or structures of the program is building in times when someone from the Spectrum program should be spending some time with the student. And we do that in a number of different ways. One way is that students have a meeting that we call a well-being meeting. That's either with a graduate student or one of the program staff. And that's one way to think about it, is the check-in meeting. But it also is a meeting that's designed really to provide for the student whatever they need, right? So maybe they just want to check in and say hi and tell us a little bit how their week is going, right? It could be that there are some significant challenges that have come up and that meeting may last a long time. We may have a student who comes in with a whole lot that they need some support with. And so, that meeting could be as quick as, 5 to 15 minutes. It could be an hour, right? They also meet with a peer coach. Peer coach is an undergraduate student. And that is a combined check-in meeting with the peer coach, but it's also a kind of a study partner kind of arrangement where, there's a check-in process, but then a lot of what that meeting consists of is much more casual, right? So it could be a little bit of talking and chat and conversation, could be simply doing some work. It's also a place for students to maybe get a peer to review some work they've done, or to look over the instructions for an assignment, or even to kind of go through their email with them and delete email that isn't necessary anymore. We also have regular structured study times throughout the week, typically led by the peer coaches and sometimes by a graduate student. And last spring we had about 8 or 9 weekly study sessions that students could attend. And, we find that some students really like those shared study times. We do also have a weekly social event. That social event might be something very program specific, like getting to watch a movie or playing games or go get ice cream, or it may be going to a campus event. We usually do a tailgate in the fall. We usually attend 1 or 2 basketball games in kind of spring semester. We went to a couple baseball games in spring semester as well. And I've done other campus-based activities as a small group for kind of our social activity for the week.
And the Spectrum program also offers some of its own classes, right?
So in addition to, their coursework and their major, students have the opportunity to take courses that are specific to the Clemson University Spectrum program. So we have a summer program for incoming students. This summer, those students will take a career development class as part of their introduction to Clemson. It's also an introduction to the career services at Clemson. And we will offer them kind of an introduction to college class, getting them used to campus, getting them used to the services on campus. helping them start thinking about what it's going to be necessary for them to do their best in school. And I'm very excited this summer we're going to be offering a public speaking course for students as part of our summer program. So that will be fulfilling a general education requirement for students, and it will also be some instruction in public speaking, which will benefit them throughout their college experience. In the fall first year, we offer a course on college skills. It's designed basically to make sure that the things that help students be highly successful in high school are also helping them be highly successful in college. And if they're not, then it gives us an opportunity to teach or help students develop college skills that are going to be needed. And in the spring of their first year, we do a course that we call Personal and Professional Networking. That is a course that focuses on interviewing skills and conversation skills, which are two skills that we find that students, really all students, need to develop more as a college student. In sophomore year, students take a course on emotional intelligence, and in the spring, they take a course on neurodiversity and neurodivergence and self-advocacy. It's part of that. In their junior year, they take a course called Stress, Flourishing, and Coping with the psychology department, and they take a class on personal growth and development that I teach. The senior year, they take courses in leadership and then adulting and transitions from college. We don't offer those classes because we're working with autistic students. My feeling is that those classes are beneficial to any college student, right?
The Spectrum program really seems to partner closely with the Clemson Career Center, right?
So because students have that early connection with the Career Center and early work on interviewing skills and conversation skills, Matt, it really makes it easier for them to access career services later on. We can help students at whatever place they are in their course of study with whatever kind of application and interview job process is important and relevant to them. Clemson is in a small town, and while there are some cities that are somewhat close by, it is a fairly rural location. And so a lot of students who have internships are going to do those internships on campus. And so there are two on-campus programs I'd like to talk about. One is UPIC. That's our internal internship program. And students in the Spectrum program can have up to 4 UPIC internships, so up to 4 different semesters of UPIC internship during their course of study at Clemson. We also have an agreement with Clemson Computing and Information Technology, CCIT, which handles all the computing infrastructure on campus. They have a specific kind of neurodivergent program within their operation where they're trying to provide a lot of support for neurodivergent employees, and as part of that, providing internships for autistic college students is a natural fit.
What types of housing options are available to Clemson Spectrum students?
So we have a variety of housing options at Clemson. I would say that all first-year students, unless they are very, very local, are required to live on campus. And students can live anywhere on campus that they want to. We do operate a living learning community that is optional for students. We find that a lot of first-year students are interested in the living learning community, but we also find that there are upper-class students who want to remain on campus and want an apartment-style living arrangement with a full kitchen, that the living learning community also appeals to those students. At Clemson, it's pretty common for students after their sophomore year to live off campus. We can provide some assistance to students in locating and evaluating apartments in the area. Clemson has a lot of student apartments, and some are close to campus, some are even walking distance from campus. So we can assist with all types of housing arrangements for students, and we can also help students match up with roommates as well.
What interactions does the Clemson Spectrum program offer to parents?
I know as a parent yourself, that's something that's near and dear to you. And of course, I'm a parent of neurodivergent college students, and so I kind of understand the parental perspective as well. I would say that our approach to working with parents and interacting with parents is variable and flexible. I have students who do not want to sign a FERPA form, and so the program is going to have very little contact with their family, perhaps no contact with their family. I have students who sign a FERPA form, but I might not really hear from the parent at all. We do offer meetings to students and parents before and after each semester. And we conduct typically 3 or 4 parent information sessions throughout the semester. We typically have a reception. This past year, it was a breakfast reception for students during parent weekend for parents during parent weekend in the fall. I have students and parents that I do a regular Zoom call with during the semester, even a weekly Zoom call with during the semester. I have parents who call me, email me, text me, because they have a concern about their son or daughter. And so I would say that what we try to do is meet the student and their parent where they're at.
Are there any student success stories you're particularly proud of?
Well, Matt, we're very proud that we have 6 program graduates now. As a young program, we haven't graduated a lot of students. We will have close to 10 students graduating this next year, though. So we're really approaching that point in time where our number of students who are graduating is probably going to be closely match the students who are kind of enrolling and starting in college. There is a student that I think I'm particularly proud of, I guess, or see as the program really significantly provided a lot of support to. He was a bridge student. Bridge students are students who actually start at Tri-County Technical College. They're conditionally admitted to Clemson, provided that they have a successful year at the technical college. They live on campus, but they take all their courses at Tri-County. He didn't come to us as a first-year student. He actually came to us as a sophomore. He did successfully bridge to Clemson, but he had a pretty rough year as a bridge student. And so we worked with him for 2.5 years. And he was an autistic student. He was also had dyslexia. Really had a lot of stress and anxiety related to college because he would work super hard and then perform very poorly on his tests. And it was a struggle. And we helped him in a number of different ways. One is we helped him to manage kind of the stress and anxiety of being a college student. We work with him to develop better study skills. We work with him to develop better coping skills. And we also work with him to reach out to professors, establish really effective relationships with professors, especially those professors in his hardest classes. And he became very good at reaching out to professors for support and assistance, and had a lot of people very invested in his success as a college student. He ended up applying for some summer internships in his field, and he worked for an entire year BMW in that internship. Ended up taking the few classes that he needed to graduate while he was working his internship, and I'm really pleased to report is now working full-time for BMW.
A big thanks to Tom Beeson and the Clemson Spectrum program. For more information, you can visit their URL below. And remember to subscribe for more great content from Inclusive Academia.